Thank you so much for watching WTV News Review. I do hope that you're enjoying your Thursday afternoon. This is where we discuss some of the top stories that are making it to the print media. And talking of the top stories now, there is a budget report that was released, and it indicates that 47 county governments spent $9 billion on domestic and foreign travel in the last financial year. Now, these are some of the stories that you are going to engage in a solutions-based conversation with one of the news anchors here at WTV. This is none other than Diana Mbugua. Thank you very much, Diana. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me here.
We start our review this afternoon with Matters Budget.
Yes.
And in the just released budget report for the last financial year, we see that the members of county assemblies, that is the MCAs, took home $3 billion in allowances. And what comes to my mind is, why should ward representatives be paid allowances to the tune of $3 billion? Sitting allowances, and that's their job? What do you take of that?
Well, it's clearly a misplaced priority, if I may call it. This is why we see, the country is crying, there's no money, the budgets are, we are seeing really misprioritized budgets. Like, why should I sitting, because I came and sat, okay, it's my job to sit here, and I'm being paid a sitting allowance, and at the end of the month, you're still going to get your salary, for doing your job. I don't really think it makes sense at all. And
that's not just it. There seems to be a kind of a rising trend in how the MCAs or the county governments are misusing taxpayers' money. Because as we are looking at sitting allowances in the last financial year totaling up to 3 billion Kenya shillings, there is still in the same report, we see quite a number of money spent on domestic and foreign trips.
This thing can make someone very angry when you think about it, because you'll find some of the ministries, say Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, some people are really suffering to get monies. But because this whole devolution thing came down to, MCAs, there's a bad decision making somewhere, because why will all this money, why is it being used, and it's not even helping the country? Or do you think it is?
No, let's not give a blanket judgment and be very specific with the counties being mentioned here, because there are those that are kind of doing well in terms of using this kind of fund that is allocated to them. But some counties like Kiambu now, the report shows that Kiambu spent the highest amount on domestic and foreign travel at 370 million, followed by Kajiado, Nairobi, and then Turkana. Now, one would wonder, Kiambu County, this is the county that is headed by Governor Kabogo. Yes. It spent quite an amount here. It was the highest in terms of spending this amount.
370 million.
Yeah, 370 million, and then it was followed by Kajiado. These foreign trips now, I think it's all about striking a balance. What you stand to gain from where you are going, because sometimes I see like they are just enjoying themselves, and I see in Turkana County here, and I'm left wondering whether it's that spirit to travel or something like that.
Well, you would say that, but if we're not seeing the effect or the impact of them going outside, because let's just say by now we should have seen some change, or maybe I'm the one who hasn't seen, I'm not sure, but have we seen, can people see an impact come next year? 2017, would we vote for the same governors, to do the same things for us?
In fact, talking of the impact and results as they travel, you remember just the other day we were talking of Elgeyo Marakwet County, members of county assemblies going to Congo to really go and scout there about how they can make a good stadium in Elgeyo Marakwet as what they think Congo has. And remember, Elgeyo Marakwet is one of the counties that is really known for the world of champions in terms of athletes. So I think now everyone will be looking to such counties. You went to Congo, then what are you doing exactly here? But then, so it's very clear that Kiambu County, Kajiado, Nairobi, and Turkana, those are the counties that are badly hit in terms of domestic and foreign trips. Let's look on the flip side now, Diana. Some of the counties that had least expenditure, you know, it will shock you to note that despite what you are saying about Elgeyo Marakwet, in terms of ratings, Mombasa, Vihiga, Kirinyaga, Elgeyo Marakwet had the least expenditure on domestic and foreign travel.
Wow. Amazing.
Amazing to see that even the Elgeyo Marakwet that, you know, has been on the limelight has the least. So you can only imagine if people are crying fall of MCAs going to Congo, but then that was the least. It's one of the least expenditure.
Then they should tell us what these other counties are really doing. You know, the ones with the highest expenditure. Where have they gone? What are they doing exactly? And what is the impact for us?
You can always tell us what you think concerning some of these stories that we are discussing here. Budget report, MCAs took home about 3 billion in allowances and 9 billion on domestic and foreign travel in the last financial year. Our Twitter handle is at WTVKE. Our Facebook is WTV Kenya. Let's keep the conversation alive on air and also online. Now let's go to another story, and the latest concerning the imposter. You remember the story about Waiganjo, Joshua Waiganjo?
Yes.
This is one of the police officers that was in charge of Rift Valley. In fact, he was an assistant, he was a commissioner of police in Rift Valley by that time. But it turned out that he was just masquerading, or rather impersonating to be a police officer.
Yeah.
Now, I see we have some details there.
Yeah, we have some details here, and the bogus policeman, he gets a 5-year jail term, and you know, after commanding officers for years, you know, and they say that they convicted him of 5 charges, and of course acquitted him of a similar number. And the senior resident magistrate for, you know, he noted that Waiganjo, who still insists that he is a police officer, you know, had failed to prove the same before the court. He still insists he's a police officer, even after being, you know, found guilty and you know, after he has been shamed to come out. I don't know what you think about this story, because how do you get away with all that for a while?
I think, you know, Joshua Waiganjo is one person that shocked Kenyans, that you can never be so sure one is a police officer until it's proved to be so. Because he was in charge. In fact, he was masquerading as a police, an assistant police commissioner in Rift Valley province by the time of the arrest. And it will shock you to note that he was also involved in a Baragoi operation. You remember that time when the police officers were really killed in Baragoi. And even you see a photo there when he was in one of the choppers, or in one of the planes when they were going for a meeting. So he has been very close to power, and he has even chaired high-powered security meetings. So at one point, the question that everyone was asking is, he could not have been so close to power, and then all of a sudden someone says he's an imposter. And that's why, in fact, even now he's insisting that he's a police officer, but he was not in a position to prove that in the court, and that's why he was given 5 years. But he is writing a very interesting book, Behind Bars, and I'm really looking forward to read this book with aptly titled Unless God is Dead. I think the main reason why Waiganjo is getting his scripts ready to do that is he has said that he has maintained that he's a police officer, and if proved otherwise, unless God is dead, because that's the truth according to him. So I think that's the inspiration behind that.
Someone must have known, you know, things just can't be.
Maybe, or that's just maybe, because 5 years for Joshua Waiganjo. But 5 years, you know, it's not quite a long time, because 5 years, we are talking about maybe 2015, by 2020 he'll be out. But I'm also looking forward to him giving more details. And if he will be in a position to really give a lot of information concerning his case and how he ended up even in the being a police officer and how exactly it happened, I think that will give more details to Kenyans, and they will know exactly whom to trust and who not to trust. Moving on to another story here about Martha's health. Now, very bad situation here because we had one person who was involved in a car accident spending over 18 hours waiting in an ambulance. And Kenyatta Hospital has admitted that the bleeding victim, after protest by his cousin who claimed that he was a lawyer, that is, he spent the 18 hours because there was no ICU bed.
18 hours. 18
hours.
And someone is from a car accident. Well, this is just shocking, you know, and it's sad because it's true, Elijah. I don't know if you have ever been to the hospital, Kenyatta National Hospital. I have been there personally, and sometimes when you go there, you're so sad because when you get there at the emergency, you're seeing people on the they've gotten accidents, but there's no one to really like take them in. There's so many cases of this happening. This is just one case that has been reported, but there are many daily happening, and it's sad. And I would really want to know what, you know, the Ministry of Health should do about this.
And this is our call to action. That is, the government, is high time now they should try to address the underlying issues and to prioritize. We should not have a situation whereby all the monies is being allocated to the counties who are having some funny budgets and some funny expenditures, unless you see some of the functions that are being left to the national government.
Now they should kind of increase, first of all, the number of ambulances, especially in the country.
Talking of ambulances and other facilities, now it might shock you to note that Kenyatta National Hospital has only 21 beds in the intensive care unit, that is ICU. Yet even in the most desperate situations, there should be at least 63 beds and over 125 HDUs. These are high dependency units. So you see the ratio there. At worst case scenario, there should be 63 beds, but Kenyatta National Hospital has 21 beds.
Wow.
So I think there is a dire need to address that kind of a scenario.
Well, there's a story here on, you know, it's a special report, and they say inside China's strategy to dominate global commerce. We all know that China is now almost, you know, they're kind of almost getting to the in competition with the United States. But what they say is that the routes would cut through Asia, Europe and Africa, connecting East Asia and Europe. And it talks about you know, how how China will dominate you know, business globally. You know, we've seen China coming, say, to Africa and helping, investing here as well, and helping in terms of infrastructure, in terms of, you know, things that will help build the economy. Yeah.
Wow, that's quite, I think, a good story, because that means more business for Africans and maybe for Kenyans, because even next year, that is 2016, Kenya will be hosting the Tokyo International Conference on African Development, which is a big thing for us. So, Martha's business there, but we'll be giving you more details concerning what the news that are making headlines in the business world, and also how prepared are you as far as El Nino rains are concerned. We'll be giving you more details after this short break.